What up? What up?
What's up? Some little Born Majestic shout out in the background of our intro today. He said we could use his music, so I just played some.
Oh, nice. Welcome, everyone that's joining us.
I forgot to tell the people in Discord. I'll go tell right now. Happy 420, everybody.
Happy 420, everyone.
Mountain Standard Times.
Thanks for joining us today. It's a Cannabis Closet with Canna Queen and MJ. It is an up in the air day.
It's holiday mode.
We're in holiday mode. It's already like time to like take off for the week. But I did have 4 days straight back to back of clinic, so I didn't. So I don't have anything for the next until December, like the first weekend in December. So
that's nice.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, it's like, but we do what we do, and we are the best procrastinators on earth.
On the planet. The planet.
And we came up with our show today. We came up with an A and a B. Looks like A, it can't happen, but we've still got a little blurb to discuss, and then we'll move on with show B.
We were going to we're still trying to get Kevin to come through. He's had a couple of business related reasons why he hasn't been able to come through, but I want everybody to send Kevin some good vibes today, because he actually has health related reason today why he can't come through. And I hope you're feeling better. If you see this, we love you, and
we're thinking of you.
Yeah, we're thinking of you.
We hope you're back to business.
Back to business soon. But we do have, it is Epilepsy Awareness Month, so we are going to share some information about that. But before we get started on the show, while we're waiting on everybody to come through, we'll talk about this week. We're not going to be live on Wednesday this week because it is a holiday week and we are in holiday mode. And I don't really celebrate this holiday. I haven't in the recent years anyway, too much. I think you have a similar premise where we just, we get together because everybody has the day off.
Yeah, we gather because because that's when everyone has the same time off. Jess was like, we have all year long, we can get together but no, not everyone has the time off. She's like, summertime. I'm like, yeah, we have July 4th, and then what?
It's nostalgic too. It's hard to get away from the nostalgia, even though we do know the history, and we're educated on those things. Still there's like the family and there's some nostalgia behind the traditions that were built in the meantime.
So that's where my sister and I sit, is in the nostalgia of again, family gathering. It's a time where we could get together, have good food, spend the time with again, having the time off, to do it. So Jess was saying next time, she's like, let's do like next Thanksgiving, we'll do a dim sum Thanksgiving, and just instead of like the whole idea of traditional, what people call Thanksgiving, is to do, just do something different. You have that time off.
We've done that.
And
not
so
dim sum, but we did like rabbit one year, and like we just changed it up, like, bring what you want kind of thing. Like, let's have a smorgasbord of different food. Let's have lasagna.
Yeah, exactly.
Twice Iceland too.
I don't like turkey. I don't even like turkey.
Right. I do like the ham more. The turkey, I tend to, maybe later I like to make soup out of it or whatever. Pot pie. Yep, exactly.
I find Christmas problematic too, but you're going to have to drag me away from Christmas dinner. I'm sorry. I love Christmas dinner. Oh my God.
So dinner. Yeah. So again, it's not so much about the holiday for us. And again, it's education, and what we're going to sit here and talk about here in a moment of how the Thanksgiving holiday came about, what we were educated, what we were told the story, but then there is a whole bunch of Indian tribes that were wiped out of existence because of our arrival to.
Because of colonization.
Yes, because of colonization. Because
of colonizers.
And so if we want to jump right in, we can, or if not, we can wait and give a few people, give a few more minutes. Let's talk about, hey, Schnooks, sitting there with us, doing a little puffing. Thanks for joining us.
What are you smoking on today?
Yeah, what do I have today? Right now, I've got something from, what do I have? I've got some Casey Jones.
Ooh, you love that stuff. That stuff is good, actually. I love some Casey Jones, too.
I remember.
Actually, coincidentally, I was dressed like Casey Jones just a couple weeks ago. I look like I was going to go fight some crime with some giant-sized turtles in the 90s. I was a 90s crime fighter. I decided what my Halloween costume is going to be.
So the first time I had Casey Jones was was a while back in California. It's what what our friend Amy picked up for us when we were having a vacay there, and then as we were walking down the street, there's these two. I say hippies for lack of a better word, buskers, whatever, sitting on the street, and they're singing, and they're like, Casey Jones is better, yeah. And they had a whole thing, and so we danced with them for a minute, and then we took off because it was I was like, yes, it is. I was like, it is truly makes things better. Do
you know where the name for that came from? I wonder. Did they just?
For this particular strain?
It had to be a Ninja Turtle thing, right?
I don't know. That's a good call because Casey Jones comes from, I think, the reference. I don't even know. Yes. Isn't Casey Jones a...
Well, it's in Grateful Dead.
It is a Grateful Dead song, too. You are correct about that.
Right, but...
So it could be that. I would say, I would lean more towards that, actually. That's Jess in the background, if anybody's wondering.
Hey, Jess. Casey Jones Wikipedia.
Let's look for Casey Jones cannabis. Make sure it says cannabis.
I know. There is a real Casey Jones who was an American railroader who was killed when his passenger train collided with the stalled freight train in Vaughan, Mississippi. Jones was a locomotive engineer for the Illinois Central Railroad based in Memphis.
That's so interesting.
So this is a real person. Casey Jones. His real name was John Luther Jones, and he was just called Casey. There is the Casey Jones, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle hockey guy. Why is Casey Jones so famous? Nope, not that one. Okay, so let's just then move on to.
I'm smoking Mob Boss, by the way.
Mob Boss. I do like the Mob Boss.
I love it.
So this
me feel good.
So from Leafly, we'll go over to WikiLeaf too. I haven't done it. I remember, working in the facility and Googling different names and trying to figure out what was going on.
Yep. Back in the days, in the beginning, we would Google it so we could see what it was crossed with. If we weren't familiar with it, we could go right to Leafly, and oftentimes they would have some of the more popular strains available for us to help our patients understand what they were using.
All right, so Leafly says the same thing. Casey Jones is coming down the track. Casey was a famous engineer who was killed in a train wreck in 1900. More recently,
it's a train wreck cross.
Oh, train wreck and tie. Yes. Okay. So this is more recently. He's also the name of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character who's fond of hockey masks and vigilante justice. However, this Casey Jones is a cross between Oriental Express, which is train wreck and tie, and East Coast Sour Diesel. So that's also why I love it, because I love the diesels. that provides an earthy, sweet palate with subtle hints of citrus. Casey Jones produces pleasant sativa effects and an uplifting and great for releasing your creativity. So yes, this is also why I love this cultivar.
Yes, I love that. It's a train wreck cross. They were like Casey Jones. We're gonna name it after a guy that runs a locomotive
That died.
Rest in peace, Casey Jones. We gonna
And
smoke.
he died in a train wreck. So, Casey Jones.
There you go. It all comes back full circle. That's pretty interesting.
Do we want to look up Mob Boss?
Sure, let's look up like Mob Boss. Why we named it Mob Boss? It probably has a lot to do with the crosses. Which, when you think about Casey Jones, though, you don't think about train wreck cross unless you know the history.
Unless you know the history.
Listen, y'all, you just came here and learned something today that you may not have known before. I certainly didn't know that about Mr. Casey Jones. Mind blown. Mine's too.
Okay.
The Grateful Dead lyrics make sense now too. Like more.
I thought I was going to look that up next. Or I was going to look that up previous. Thanks for saying that. Okay. Mob Boss, also known as Mob Boss Tang Tang, is a sativa dominant hybrid strain made by crossing Chemdog and Tang Tang. The strain originates from California and has earned fame for its staggeringly heavy resin product. Mob Boss delivers hard-hitting effects in the form of jolts of cerebral mental stimulation. Medical patients and consumers tell us they use Mob Boss for a quick relief of muscle tension, mood relief, and appetite stimulation. The flavor of Mob Boss is sweet and floral with herbal citrus undertones. According to growers, Mob Boss typically finishes flowering 60 to 70 days indoors, but say this ultimately depends on how the traits are expressed. This strain was originally released in 2009 by Grindhouse Medical Seeds.
And it just doesn't say why they named it that. Just
no, it doesn't. Let's see if there's another one, and that's just from Leafly. And
welcome everybody. This is the Cannabis Closet podcast. And I am Canna Queen, and this is MJ. Oh, other way. I always point the wrong way. Yeah, it's the Monday before the holiday week end, long weekend. Y'all, don't go out on Friday. Just stay home. It's just not worth it.
All they do is mark the stuff up so you think that you're getting a good deal,
exactly.
And it's
not even a real deal.
Don't keep out. Shop local. If
you're gonna go out, shop local. Yes, please. Thank you. And shop Black-owned businesses, please.
Let's see. This is from All Bud, and their notes are: the strain earned its fame due to its intoxicating effects and doesn't say anything about same things.
I was like, does it beat you up like a Mob Boss? I don't feel like I get beat up by it.
It will feel as though someone smacked you in the face. You will feel a buzzing pressure around your head that will immediately cause your eyelids to lower themselves. However, the strain is not recommended for tiring end of the day high. It instead delivers a high dose of body relaxation. Strain has shown benefits with muscle pain, anxiety, and migraines. High doses can aid patients suffering from insomnia get a good night's sleep, thus making the versatile strain for patients looking for indica-like effects. So it's a 60-40, 60% sativa, 40% indica hybrid.
That tracks. I would say it doesnn't make me tired. If you are
using those words to determine your, that's what general information available calls it.
Yeah, we're working on it sort of as a community to try to change our vocabulary, but it's taken some time. I will say this doesn't make me feel sleepy, like ever.
That's because it's cerebral and also it induces a clear, lighter buzz. So I think that maybe if again, hybrids, I definitely have to ask questions about hybrids, because the way that I medicate, the way that I work, I have literally gone for it's a very sativa driven hybrid. Okay, I'll take it. And then I'll be like, do.
Yeah.
Like bad. And so that's why I just really try to go for whatever. And again, it's a smell for me. It's a smelling thing.
Your nose knows, right?
I don't care about the percentage. I want to smell it. And then I'm going to be like,
me up, or does it make me feel mellow? Right.
I am, like I said, a diesel person, a gasoline-y, like.
I will say too, a lot of it for me, I think, is sometimes a little mind over matter, like if I know that it's supposed to keep me awake, there's a high likelihood that it's going to keep me awake. Mm-hmm. And if I know that I'm using it to go to sleep, then there's a high likelihood it's going to make me drowsy. But it's also the effects of the thing too. But when I smoke a hybrid, a 60-40 hybrid, I definitely don't feel like sleepy about it. But I will say that it does help relax my body and the aches and pains that I experience. I know I look young, but y'all, my knees hurt and my back hurts.
My back hurts right now
all the time.
And my
oh, she turned into Max Headroom or T-Pain. You choose. Your generation is your choice. You're back, I think.
It's how it is.
There, maybe she'll be back. Anyways, but yeah. So I get a nice chill high, but not sleepy. I can get stuff done with this one for sure. It is Epilepsy Awareness Month, the month of November. Purple hearts. And we were going to have Kevin on today, but he's not feeling well today. So send him love and positive vibes, everybody. Healing energies. But I do have some information I'm going to share. Some people might know this, some people might not. But in honor of Epilepsy Awareness Month, we're going to talk about Charlotte Figge today. She passed away. Max Headroom. Look it up. It's from the 80s. It's from our generation. So we're gonna talk about Charlotte Figge today. Charlotte Figge, I would call her family a pioneering family in this industry, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they completely advocated for
they're the reason that we got CBD availability for especially for children, but for people who live with epilepsy or different forms of epilepsy. We do not want to become famous. Thank you. Have a good day. Well, we do, but not
we'll do
like
it on our own. Yeah,
not like that.
We got us.
We got it. Thanks. Have a good day.
But thank you.
So, Charlotte Figge, hey Schnooks, are you an admin in Twitch right now? Can you go ahead and block those people if you are? Let me know. Okay, so Charlotte Figge was born on October 18th, 2006, and she has a twin sister, and her parents' names are Paige and Matt Figge. At 3 months old, Charlotte had her first seizure. She was diagnosed with a condition called Dravet syndrome, which is a type of epilepsy. When she was 5 years old, she used a wheelchair and she had up to 300 seizures a day. So let's just stop for a moment to think about that. 300 seizures a day. If you had to do anything 300 times a day, you had to stop doing everything else and do just this one thing 300 times a day. There's nothing, you can't get anything done. So think about as a child, having 300 seizures a day. That means that her development, she couldn't develop, normally as a child. She couldn't learn to crawl, walk, etc., because she was having these seizures and her body was having to work on this thing. So she was having 300 seizures a day. and she had trouble speaking. And again, this causes developmental issues because you can't learn anything if everything is stopping for you. In 2012, her mother researched, Paige Figge researched CBD marijuana oil, cannabis oil for her daughter's treatment. And she began taking oil from a cannabis plant. So this has always been very interesting to me, how things happen. I am an advocate for responsible breeding. I'm a responsible breeding advocate, okay, especially within the legalized market. I'm not an advocate for breeding just for THC content and things like that. I think whole plant is very, very important. Having said that, there was a plant that was grown, and the cultivators called it hippie's disappointment. And the reason they called it hippie's disappointment was because it tested low for THC. So it had low THC content. It was later renamed Charlotte's Web. So this is Charlotte's Web that everybody's heard of, right? It's high CBD, low THC. It's one of the first and most popular CBD cultivars that we know of. They use this plant to create cannabis oil for Charlotte, and it helped immediately reduce her epileptic seizures down from 300 a week to 2 or 3 per month. 300 a week to 2 or 3 per month from just taking this high CBD, low THC oil. While she was using it, it was still very illegal in many states. Her family became advocates for this. They came out to Colorado Springs so that they could get this medicine for their daughter. And because of her story, it started getting a lot of notice. So they were kind of the face of this movement. This CBD, it was being offered for children. Parents were moving from states into Colorado and into California, into legal states, so that they could get access to CBD medicine for their children with epilepsy. And then that also opened the doors for people understanding how cannabis could help with other childhood illnesses as well, and into adulthood illnesses such as autism, for example. And so we start seeing CBD being used for autism. And it's all because it all really started here with Charlotte Figge. In 2013, Charlotte Figge is the reason that Dr. Sanjay Gupta advocates for cannabis legalization now. Dr. Sanjay Gupta, for those of you who don't know, is a CNN correspondent. He is also a neuroscientist. He's a neurologist. He's a doctor. He has his PhD. He used to be against cannabis legalization. He believed what he was told. He believed what medical schools were putting out. He believed the stigma. And then he met Charlotte Figge and her family, and they changed his mind. So in 2013, he made a public apology to basically the world, but saying that he was wrong about this and that cannabis needed to be looked at seriously, and it needed to be researched, and we need to be educated on it, and it needed to be made available. So these are the things that happen all because of this one little girl and her necessity to get access to this plant and to this oil, and her parents' nonstop effort to make sure that happened. So again, this helped with legalization throughout the world as well. And she was the first child ever featured on High Times as well. So in 2019, they featured her on High Times. In April of 2020, unfortunately, she was hospitalized with pneumonia, which caused seizures, respiratory failure, and cardiac arrest. She passed away on April 7th, 2020, at the age of 13. Because it was during a time of COVID, there were definitely stories coming out that she had died from COVID-19, but it was not COVID-19. It was she had pneumonia, and that caused a laundry list of other health issues, because she's highly susceptible to having those health issues because of her condition. So that's a little bit about Charlotte Figge in honor of National Epilepsy Awareness Month. you can read more about her. There's like a Wikipedia page, but there's lots of stories about her. It's Figi is how you spell her last name. You can look up stories about Charlotte's Web and things like that to also find out more. It's a very interesting story, and we're very happy that her parents did not give up that fight and made sure they did whatever they could to give their daughter a longer and a more quality of life. So it's a beautiful story. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that coverage on epilepsy awareness. We definitely have that little, you know what? I don't even know where it's at, but we have that little flyer of signs, things to be.
Yeah, I could definitely read off of that list again, just as a little update that we did last week. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I don't know if I have it to put up, but I can definitely find it in my notes here.
It's like I might be able to find it in my files if I
have it here. So I'll just read off of this, and if you find it, you can pop it up there.
Cool.
All right, so this is seizure first aid. This is how to help somebody who is having a seizure. Number 1, stay with that person until they are awake and alert after the seizure, or until such time as medical services arrive, if that's a necessity. Time the seizure, remain calm, and check for a medical ID. So oftentimes they'll be wearing like a medical ID of some sort. So check for that. Just remain calm and pay attention to how long the seizure lasts. Number 2, keep the person safe. Move or guide away from harm. So if somebody is falling, for example, if you can prevent them from hitting their head, if you can prevent them from like knocking up against a cabinet or something like that, stuff like that is going to be helpful. Keep them away from things that are going to cut them or harm them in some way, because they don't have any control at that moment. Number 3, turn the person on their side if they are not awake and aware. So if they're not awake and aware, you want to turn them on their side. Keep their airway clear. Loosen any tight clothing. So if they're wearing anything around their neck, you want to loosen that up. And put something small and soft under their head. So again, to try to prevent any kind of damage to the head and the brain. Call 911 if the seizure lasts longer than 5 minutes, the person does not return to their usual state, if the person is injured, pregnant, or sick, if there are repeated seizures, if it's their first time having a seizure, if they're having difficulty breathing, or if the seizure occurs while they're in water. So if any of those things happen, call 911 and get them some medical attention. Things you do not want to do. You do not want to restrain somebody who's having a seizure, and you do not want to put anything into their mouths. Rescue medicines can be given if prescribed by a healthcare professional, and those are given orally, but generally speaking, you don't want to put anything in their mouth or try to restrain them in any way. If you want to learn more, you can go to epilepsy.com/first aid, and you can learn more about how you can help somebody if they have a seizure while in your presence. I was just reading some of the comments down here. So yes, CBD oil is really great. I think whole plant medicine is your best bet, honestly, but we need more research on the plant, and certainly with more research, we're going to find that certain combinations of cannabinoids are going to work for this, and certain combinations of cannabinoids are going to work for this thing. And it's going to be just like general medicine. When you think about it, it's going to be kind of balanced in that way in the future, I think, medicinally, as far as medicinal use is concerned. And we still have adult use in a lot of states that have also legalize medicinal use. And with that, you'll still have access to flowers and concentrates and things like that. But I think in the medicinal world, we're going to start seeing in our future, as we advance, we're going to probably start seeing those balances. And as we do more research and understand how cannabinoids affect our receptors and how certain receptors are going to be activated during this, or need to be activated during this illness, so that we can heal, stuff like that. So I think we'll start seeing that more on the medicinal side as more research is available. That's what I think. That's my hope anyway.
Right. I agree. I mean, there are studies being done, and I think that that's great where we're at. But also at the same time, we have to start advocating for the medical patients in each state. We're getting overrun by adult use, and while it's beneficial to have adult use access, our patients are losing out, and we don't have the money and capability to buy adult use. And therefore, so there needs to be a balance, and everyone needs to be aware of this across the nation as legalization is going around. And so keep your eye on things. NORML is usually a great place of information about measures that are going up for vote that you should be aware of in your state. That's NORML.com, and you can usually again, find out what you need to be standing up for in your state.
For example, in Colorado, you need to be standing up for the patients that are between the ages of 18 and 20 right now, because there's a bill that's been proposed. It's supposed to go into effect in January. There's a lawsuit right now against it, but it's House Bill 1317. It says it violates the protections of medical marijuana patients under Colorado Constitution and General Assembly. In passing the law, is making changes that can only be done through a constitutional amendment. That's the lawsuit. That's what the lawsuit is claiming. Basically, they're changing the laws again on our concentrates, and it's going to be most harmful to those who are 18 to 20. Can you kind of explain that a little bit more, Megan?
So essentially what it does, and so say I was talking to different dispensary agents this past weekend, and one person's notes on it were, if a patient qualifies at 17 or under the age of 18, they have access, and this measure does not affect them. They can pick up the whatever amount. I guess they're going to limit it at 8 grams regardless. No problem.
Because their parents can pick it up.
Because their parents will be picking it up for them.
Right.
The minute they turn 18, they now have to have an additional certification, and that they are limited to 2 grams of product, a concentrate product. And so it also, oh shit. And then once you jump, them 21 and up. But so again, it affects your capability to pick up and purchase, and they don't, there's no way around it in terms of a physician saying you're exempt from this.
Right. So the physician can't even exempt them.
It actually, I believe, and I still have to go over the whole bill. It requires that the patient be seen 6 months later. So they have to be seen for a second evaluation. They
just 18-year-olds,
18 to 20. They have to have a second certification, just like the minor consent do. So under 18, they have to see 2 physicians and have a minor consent form. The 18 to 20 patients will have to have 2 physicians sign off. And they have some specific notes about how the physicians can certify for these patients.
I'm so annoyed.
They cannot have, they have to have 2 practitioners. Those 2 practitioners cannot work under the same medical facility.
Oh, so it can't be 2 practitioners in the same facility that have both evaluated.
So which is an issue definitely in my area, your area, where
because we're a small town.
one to, and so again, limiting patient options, limiting the practitioners to.
Also, it's $150 a pop.
And, up in the mountains, that's our average. Down in, Denver, definitely people probably find it for less.
But the point is that you got to pay that twice.
More, right. And I think I forget, that's some of the things that I have to go over in regard to is like follow-up visit can't be charged for or something is the way that some of it looked.
But how is that going to work for who wants to see the follow-up patient? I don't want to see the follow-up patient. I'm not making any money off of that. They can't see the same physician.
Oh, they have to. Well, no, that part is the two physicians that they.
So their second appointment is with each physician would be free, but their first appointment with each physician is going to cost them $150.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
120 to 150 ish.
Right. Ish. And so again, it puts these, they're saying that it's to limit, these patients that are accessing the medicine and giving it to their friends, and those friends not being able to handle it. Oh gosh, all the misinformation. I'm just saying this because it's not because I believe this or these are my words. Please, everyone we didn't do our,
trigger warning and all that stuff, and anything that you're gonna know where we come from. You know where we come from. We're gonna tell you. You don't have to guess about us at all. It's ridiculous. Here's the thing. Here's my problem with it. Here's my biggest problem with it. My biggest problem with it is you are saying in the state of Colorado, I have a huge problem with the laws about substances. Okay. A huge problem. If you're going to call me an adult and say that I'm on my own and then I got to pay all the taxes and all the stuff and I can go vote and I can do all the stuff, right? I can go to war. I can go work at adult jobs. If I'm an adult, then I'm an adult. Period. Here's the thing too. I'm going to be devil's advocate right now. Your brain does not completely fully develop until the age of 25. Your brain is not fully developed until the age of 25. So technically, if we want to get technical about it, you're not an adult until the age of 25. That means you're under your parents' care. That means you fall under those laws that 17-year-olds fall under, right? So then you can get whatever your parents get you as your caregiver. Okay. But they can't send you to war. All right. You're not going to be responsible for our economy. Unfortunately, that would also mean that, maybe they're not voting. But I don't like that at all. I want you voting at 18. Okay. I want everybody to vote at 18. What I'm saying is if you're an adult, then you're an adult. Like let's define what an adult is in our country or in our state or whatever, however you want to do it, right? And then once we define that, then this group of people falls under these laws for minors, and this group of people falls under these laws for adults. Okay, when it comes to substances and things like that. I'm not talking about body autonomy and things like that because, come on. But what I am saying is, like if you can sign on a dotted line and volunteer yourself to go to war for this country, then you should be able to drink a beer, smoke a cigarette, and get some cannabis.
Yes.
If it's available. I think all drugs should be legal also and regulated. That's me. That's where I am. I'm on that far side of it. Like legalize all of it, regulate all of it. That way you do away with the underground market, especially if you do it right. Because cannabis is not doing it right. Y'all ain't going to get rid of the underground market as long as you keep nickel and diming these owners and making it impossible to make any money within the industry without gouging the prices to our patients and to our consumers. And unless we can offer fair and equitable prices to our patients and consumers, they're going to continue to seek out the underground market with people that they can hopefully trust. Where the regulated market should be safer, but then we look at places like Michigan, who had just had a major recall on mold products, major across the industry recall in Michigan. I want to say,
and here's my note on this as well, is that which also should be fair, is licensing fees and the procedures and everything that these that dispensaries have to go through to get licensed, the manufacturing and what that computes out as the financial, what's going into it, and again, who's available, who's allowed, who is capable of getting into the industry.
Who has money, who has resources.
Right. And so again, we're talking about making it harder for people to access medical, harder for medical facilities to maintain because they only have limited amounts of vendors that still do medical products, because licensing was made easier for adult use product licensing, and they just went, hey, and everyone gets to make their tax money on it, and everyone's fine with it, except for the patients that are like, why can't I get that product that's on adult use over in medical? It's because it's just a different licensing, a different capability of manufacturing, and then they're going to want to limit our milligram dosing. And so it just, we have to stand up for what's best as us for patients, and patients need to be vocal about why, and again, I have, I don't know, I've heard the negatives of it all. So it's frustrating, but you still have to be in those rooms and stand up, as frustrating as it is. As patients, we have become complacent and, just let everything roll by, like, oh yeah, it's fine. Oh yeah, it's fine. And now they want to, put additional taxes. They're talking, additional taxes on
that part. I was going to say that. Thank you for saying that. Cause I was just thinking that. I was like, that they just put on our ballot this year to raise the taxes in cannabis, not any other industry, to help pay for shit. They always look to us first. They're like, oh, we have this fucking cash cow now.
New cash cow, and I did see an article somewhere that did talk about what goes out, what the tobacco and alcohol industry, essentially what it looks like in comparison. And there was still a marginal difference of like 10 to 20%, I think, that, of less in taxes for cannabis. So I'm like, not that we need anything raised, but yes, it's real in terms of what they want to tax, but can't tax our millionaires or billionaires that make money off of them.
Tax the rich, y'all. We don't have to eat them. We could just tax them, and that would solve a lot of shit if we just tax the rich. And if you're not rich and you're against taxing the rich, I really want you to go see a therapist. I really do, because there's something not going on up here. Is it because you think you're going to be up there in those upper echelons with them one day and you don't want to be taxed? Like, fair is fair. Everybody should be taxed their fair share. And by the way, you're probably, no offense, I mean, I want you to be rich, but you're probably not going to be up there having a conversation with Elon Musk, is all I'm saying. Most likely not. If I'm wrong, come back and tell me I'm wrong. Okay. But in the meantime, let's just tax him and see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. I do want to talk about this real quick because I mentioned it, and it's important to mention, and I'm sure that we have listeners in that area. So in Michigan, they did issue an enormous marijuana recall based on safety concerns. This was an updated story from November 18th, which was Thursday of last week. Michigan, and this is in the legal market, you guys, so please just be careful and pay attention. Okay. Michigan licensing officials on late November 17th issued what is likely the largest marijuana recall in the state ever. since the commercial market opened, the Marijuana Regulatory Agency, which is what it's called in Michigan, recalled all marijuana flower product that passed safety testing at Veritas Laboratories between August 10th and November 16th. The exact quantity of the impacted products hasn't been released by the MRA, the Marijuana Regulatory Agency. The recall affects products sold at more than 400 retail locations across the state. If you go to normal, no. Sorry, I'm wrong. This is a. I'll come in and share the story. This is I don't know. Where's this from? I don't know. I'll figure it out. And M Live is what it says, but I'll share it. The MRA called lab test results inaccurate and or unreliable in a notice issued just before 5 p.m. on last Wednesday, the 17th, but provided no further explanation as to why the agency is concerned. The recall doesn't impact. So I said it was because of mold. I made an assumption there, or I probably mixed up some stories. Was they haven't said why they're recalling the product. They're just saying that the testing is inaccurate and unreliable. So they're like, bring it August. You guys, they're not going to be able to get anything back from August. Like especially not the flower. Wow. They said it doesn't impact. So yeah, it's just flower. It doesn't impact THC extracts, vaping cartridges, resin distillate. While we strongly disagree with the decision and firmly stand by our test results, we are fully cooperating with the MRA and working closely with our customers to minimize interruptions and retest affected products at no cost. That's from the lab. We have been cleared to continue testing at both of our state-of-the-art facilities. This is going to cause some impact for their company too, I think. We look forward to continuing, blah, blah, blah. So they've made an impact statement. They're saying, hey, we don't think that this is a proper decision, but we are cooperating to get to the bottom of things. So that's what Viridian's doing. Customers who have the recalled product are asked to return it to the retailer that they purchased it from for proper disposal. According to the MRA notice, consumers with weakened immune systems or lung disease are at high risk for health-related incidents such as aspergillosis, which can impact lung function, and if these potentially harmful products are consumed. And then they have the numbers, the testing numbers, the labels. That's why we label everything, so that you can go back and say, oh, this is the number on the label, right? You're frozen in a crazy look for a second there. And so, yeah, this is a crazy huge recall. It's probably one of the biggest ones I've ever seen. Over 400 stores are going to be impacted by this. They're going to have to take back product and replace that product with clean product. The lab is going to have to potentially retest product for free at no charge, and they're potentially going to lose a lot of customers too, because this is going to impact these businesses. And if I can't trust you to do things the way it need to be done, then I need to go utilize somebody else, right?
This is where a portion of legalization would be great, because we need that interstate commerce. We need to be able to import and export cannabis to other.
Yeah.
But it, again, has to fall under, and this is where regulations and testing need to get online and on board, and not have stupid languages of like, oh, a joint turns into a different kind of product when you turn it from flower to a joint because it's wrapped in paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are rules that get made. And so, sorry.
Your connection is crazy right now.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going too crazy into talking. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't know.
It's like you're a little bit of T-Pain and a little bit of Max Headroom.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully once we're talking about our next subject, then
Did you want to? Did you want to send me the stories that you were going to talk about?
Yeah, I can link up right here,
and we'll talk about them because the holidays.
So, might want to go ahead and just issue a trigger warning if you believe that the Pilgrims and Indians were sitting at a table together, and that's just the magic of Thanksgiving. Then you are believing something that you were taught in school and haven't been on social media that shares history in real,
accurately.
We're
about to bust your bubble in a second. We're about to ruin Thanksgiving for you because that is not what happened. That is a whitewashed version, Peanuts, Snoopy, and Charlie Brown version of Thanksgiving.
So both headlines, one follows the other. I'm sending it in the private chat just because that's the easiest for me to figure out right now. The first one is actually titled, What You Learned About the First Thanksgiving Isn't True. Here's the real story. This was published November 19th, and I think updated November 24th, 2020. It is from the Cape Cod Times, but I think originally it says credited to Aaron Diane from the USA Today Network. Am I still good? All
yes.
Good? Okay.
Yes.
I'm just going to read it, and it does, again, I sent the second one. It talks about the actual tribes that were involved in Thanksgiving. So, the traditional story of Thanksgiving, and by extension, the Pilgrims, the one repeated in school history books and given the Peanuts treatment in A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, doesn't start in 1620 with the cold and seasick Pilgrims stepping off the Mayflower onto Plymouth Rock. It also doesn't start a year later with the Pilgrims and the native Wampanoag all sitting together to break bread and celebrate their first successful harvest and a long, harmonious relationship to come. It doesn't start there because those things never happened, despite being immortalized in American mythos for generations. The Pilgrims spent only a few weeks of 1620 in the Wampanoag village of Patuxet. Sorry, any pronunciations, I apologize. Which they would rename Plymouth, now Plimoth, now Ply, Plymouth, and they certainly didn't step off onto Plymouth Rock. As for the 1621 feast, that supposed genesis of today's Thanksgiving tradition, there was a small feast, but the Wampanoag were not invited. They showed up later. Their role in helping the Pilgrims survive by sharing resources and wisdom went unacknowledged that day, according to accounts of the toast given by Pilgrim leaders. Goes on to kind of talk more about Lincoln's first Thanksgiving Day didn't mention Pilgrims. The first National Thanksgiving Day did not invoke the Pilgrims at all. In 1863, it goes back to the tribes in a minute. The first National Thanksgiving Day did not invoke the Pilgrims at all. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln declared a Thanksgiving Day on the last Thursday of November, looking to reconcile a country in the throes of the Civil War. On a parallel track, the story of the Pilgrim forefathers coming to the New World and founding America for religious freedom gained steam, as New England Protestants wielded the myth to gain the top spot in the country's cultural hierarchy above Catholics and immigrants, according to historian David Silverman in his book, This Land is Their Land, The Wampanoag Indians, Plymouth Colony, and the Troubled History of Thanksgiving. As Americans looked for an origin story that wasn't soaked in the blood of Native Americans or built on the backs of slavery, the humble, bloodless story of the 102 Pilgrims forging a path in the New World in search of religious freedom was just what they needed, according to Silverman, regardless of whether it was rooted in historical fact. It became accepted as such. In 1963, these two tracks crossed when President John F. Kennedy, whose family frolicked in the home of the native Nauset and Accomaw people in Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard, immortalized them in his own Thanksgiving Day proclamation, baking the plates together like the bread broken and shared in the mythic first Thanksgiving feast. The historically accurate story of the Pilgrims and the founding of Plymouth Colony 400 years ago this month is not in most school history books. It is also not the one you'll find at Pilgrim Memorial Park in Plymouth, home of the famed Plymouth Rock and the Mayflower II, a replica of the cargo ship turned people carrier the Pilgrims crammed into across the Atlantic. Okay, they turned it into a tourist attraction. Awesome.
Beautiful. That's
the
beautiful.
more historically accurate telling is gaining a foothold in small circles as members of the Herring Pond, Mashpee, and Aquanaut Wampanoag tribes. Michelle Pecoraro, executive director of Plymouth 400, who is helping lead the anniversary commemoration, and Silverman bring the documented facts to light. How are we supposed to improve on this sorry record if we don't understand the sorry record? Asked Silverman. He is a George Washington University professor. I think the only way forward is to understand the history the way it happened. Stephen Peters, this is Stephen Peters, a spokesman for the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe.
That story is in the comments too. I posted in the comments.
Awesome. So they are
I'm not crying. I got smoke in my eye.
He and the other Mashpee and Herring Pond Wampanoag tribe members have been working with museums and on platforms such as Vimeo to elevate the history of the indigenous people who lived in the region for thousands of years before the Pilgrims arrived. At that point, it really changes your perspective. Tradition dictates the Pilgrim story starts in September 1620 with the departure of the Mayflower packed with the colonists and sailors, leaving England to set sail a new world. But starting there ignores years of European contact with the native people of New England and paints the Wampanoag and their neighbors in the broad stroke of simplicity, ignoring the complex regional relationships and politicking at play. The story could start a century earlier in 1524 at the first known contact between Native Americans in southern New England and Europeans in the Narragansett Bay near Aquidneck Island. Or it could start in 1602.
You're starting to break up a little bit more now.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
It just goes on to kind of talk about, the different times and period that happened before Thanksgiving, the 1602 or whatever.
So Thanksgiving is a made-up holiday to unite us during the Civil War,
mm-hmm. and
to wash the blood off of our hands by not mentioning all of the horrible things.
It does talk about slavery.
As you know, the U.S. has rejoined the Paris Agreement.
Uh-oh.
We support it too.
This is the other one. Stop! I muted you, and now it won't let me get to her to stop her. Stop. This is lost. Got to hear all of that though, didn't you?
Yes. What's up next?
Okay, I wanted to just kind of read this one sentence about another date. Okay, great. Perfect. Just in time. So it goes on to say, also in 1614, when a Nauset tribe member named Ipanau was captured by Europeans and kept in bondage for 3 years, he engineered an escape and returned to his people on Martha's Vineyard. But that same year, Tisquantum, later known as Squanto, and 19 other Wampanoag men were lured onto an English ship, taken captive, and sold into slavery. So this is how you get paid back when you offer, your hand. Tisquantum, who spent time in Spain and London, would later return to Patuxet, and he and Ivanhoe would play important roles in burgeoning Wampanoag Pilgrim relations. Only Squanto was immortalized in the Pilgrim story. And so that's there's a whole bunch more that I did not see below the gigantic Twitter and other logos. That's how it ends. The best starting point, according to Peters and other historians, is 1616, when a lethal pandemic tore through many Wampanoag villages. In 3 years, once populous villages like Patuxet, where the Pilgrims would eventually settle, were utterly void of people, as English explorer Thomas Gurmer wrote, further threatening the existence of the Wampanoag. The Narragansett tribe, their powerful Western rivals, were left largely untouched. So they essentially got wiped out by disease and then overtaken by another tribe that was bigger.
Yeah.
They weren't used to diseases, so
settlers is the wrong word though. Colonizers is the right word.
It goes on to talk about more of that and then why the Massasoit helped the pilgrims. So this goes into it's a lot.
Yeah, you guys, it's in the thing. Is that the second article?
No, this continues on in that main article, the Cape Cod Times. It goes into.
So that's in the chat or the comment section.
Yes, and so definitely worth the full read to educate and continue to share the history of these tribes. So the second article is actually talking about the Wampanoag people telling their story on the 400 Thanksgiving anniversary. This strain's making me not able to talk, and I'm going to drink some water here.
Okay. The real reason that we're doing this, you guys, is because we just want to take this opportunity to like be educated and educate others about the reality of the upcoming holiday. We do realize that, yeah, everybody's going to get the day off. And so we're going to take that time to hopefully safely interact with our friends and family. Please do so safely. Remember, COVID is still a thing. People are still dying. It is not a hoax. And so be careful out there. But while we do realize that that is going to happen, maybe this year we can start a new tradition of taking some time out to educate ourselves and maybe our families, or having like a family thing where we like tell a story about a Native American tribe and what MJ was just reading, how some tribes were wiped out due to disease because we colonized over here, and that's what we did. And we do have an atrocious history, okay? That's something that we can't change. We can only change how we react and how we behave going forward, and how our system works going forward, how we make those changes going forward. Now that we know that we were lied to, that we were undereducated, that we were whitewashed, educated, things like that, we can use that information, and instead of being mad about it, or going, well, what can I change about it? I can't change anything, so I'm just going to go on with my life the way it was. That is a privilege, to go on with your life the way it is, and not be affected by what happened in our past and what continues to happen in our daily lives systemically. Understand that kind of history, that is generational. That affects generations into the future. There were deals made with Native tribes, and that's why we see a lot of like the territories and the tribal lands. But what happened is that white men said, "Oh, here's some land for you. We're giving it back to you. This is yours," right? But it's the shittiest part of the land. There's like, it's hard to grow on those spots of land. It's like desolate parts of land. Because of boarding schools and the way that we indoctrinated Native Americans into our culture on their land. Because of those things, a lot of them lost their language. So there's historians and people that are studying their native language and starting to bring those things back. But a lot of language was lost. We lost a lot of people. A lot of tribes were completely wiped out. And families were separated. So there were children sent to boarding schools and not returned to their families, or their families were completely separated, and they were assimilated into American culture. And these things affect generations, because then these children have children, and these children and then they teach them the same lessons, right? And we see a lot of unhealthy habits, alcoholism, and morbid obesity and things like that, and heart disease and diabetes that are affecting these native cultures. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we were like, oh, here's your subsidies, all of this packaged sugary food. And so a lot of their culture includes like fry breads and a lot of foods that are not as healthy, that could be, whereas, Native Americans used to live off of this land. And the numbers are rising. And I'll tell you this, that the population of Native Americans per capita compared to everybody else is very low. However, they have one of the highest rates of alcoholism and suicide because of that.
Yes.
And depression. And the list goes on. And so this stuff is systemic, it's generational, and we need to be aware of it, and we need to educate others, even those that don't want to hear it, that want to continue to whitewash history. We cannot let that happen. And so even though we're taking this time off to spend with our loved ones, either via Zoom or in person, hopefully safely, please do so safely again. Want everybody to come back healthy. I'm going to tell a story about that in just a minute after I finish my point. But maybe take an opportunity, especially if you have young people in your family, to start educating yourself and others, and honoring and taking this time to honor past culture that was here before us. That would be a good way to honor this holiday.
Right, to spend this holiday. Though they have, I guess, declared Friday Native American Indian,
woo, yay, America. Come on.
Thanks for the day.
Thanks for giving us Black Friday, where everybody's gonna be out. What are we doing? We're gonna like throw a name on a day where we've already consumerized it. Is that proper English? I don't know. Well, we've already got people out there. Well, let's give thanks today and then go and beat people up for a Barbie doll tomorrow. Our culture makes zero sense to me. Zero sense. I wanted to say, and I'll promise we'll try to bring it back up after this. I want to say on the point that I'm making about COVID. Okay. Not going to force anybody to do anything with their body that they don't want to do. I want to say that first and foremost. It's your body, it's your choice. You do what you want to do. Okay. But be careful getting together with family gatherings. And I say this, I lost my uncle at the beginning of this year. Actually, I lost my uncle in January. He went to family Christmases. He went to see the family for Christmas, and he and his wife got COVID. She recovered. He did not. He ended up in the hospital, and he passed away in January. And so it's serious. So I want you to be careful, because I want to see all of you back here after all of our holidays that are coming up. I know that it's really special, and I know that's really sentimental, and we want to get together with our families, but I beg of you to do so safely, and make good choices and be safe. That's all I'm saying. So that's the last point I'll make on that. But yeah, it's a real thing. It's not a hoax. It's real life. So let's bring it back up after that. Woo.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much. I mean, the second article is pretty much a summation of that pretty detailed article. It's kind of concentrating on a woman who is trying to bring all of this to light, along with there's a podcast. This woman, Matika Wilbur. She's a filmmaker, photographer, and podcaster. And she was interviewing scholars Linda Coombs and Paula Peters, who are members of the Wampanoag tribe. And so they tell a little bit about the history of, how their tribe was, again, same kind of not mimicked, but told the same story. But they do go into detail about where I got lost and was like, this is just too much. And in regard to the tribe that made made the contract or deal with the Pilgrims, and that was the Masowit Tribe. And they wanted to kind of clarify why he made that alliance. And so that's where, here it is. So when the Pilgrims arrived, Masowit, a Wampanoag leader, had to carefully consider what to do. And so he decided to form the alliance with the English. It was more a strategic decision. It was not something that he was doing really out of the kindness of his heart. They had weapons that we didn't have, guns, and he was thinking of protecting his people. To say that we were making friends is just, it's ridiculous, and it dishonors history and their chief. And so they continue to talk about the Thanksgiving and the misinformation, and it says that the Masowit just showed up. Peter's added he showed up with 100 warriors. They came because they heard the sound of muskets, but it was certainly not, let's invite our Wampanoag neighbors to our harvest dinner. The women go on to discuss what happened in the following years. That was tragic. In order to settle there, you have to do something with the people that are already there. And if you're not going to kill them outright, which is the method that was used, then what you do all these things, other things like Christianize them, educate them, and try to make them like you. This is the quote from one of the women, Coombs. Over time, the Thanksgiving lore has rendered Indigenous people almost invisible. She goes on to tell a story of her own memory in second grade. Story was told by a teacher, and one of the other students says, "What happened to all of the Indians?" And the teacher said, "Oh, they all died of a plague." And I had to raise my hand and say, "No, they didn't, because I'm still here." This was Paula. Yeah, I think it's ludicrous. We have been disregarded and treated like our part in this history doesn't matter. Like it or not, the history is what it is. And they came and took our land in order to start a colony here, and that is just the truth of it.
That is the truth of it.
They did say that had the village not been wiped out by the tribes being wiped out by the disease, that there would not have been enough room or space for colonizers because their tribes were so strong and their people were so healthy. And before European fishermen started coming over for trade.
And brought disease.
Is very uncomfortable to think about what happened in the settlement of America, said Wilbur. I believe that our humanity encourages us to get to know one another. And to me, how we break down some of these barriers and overcome some of these stereotypes is by being in a good relationship with people that look different than us. Oh, such a novel concept, right? And I think that's really the way forward. This is what we talk about all the time. And that is the end of the article for this one. It is posted. Did you post this one in the comments?
I didn't post the second one. I only posted the first one. So
I will post that one as well. These two women. And again, I
didn't want to open it because I didn't want that video to play and then me not be able to find it. So I was like, she's already got it open. I'm going to let her do it.
All right.
I mean, it's just really important to remember how we got here and what that took and who it took away from. And yeah. Don't get offended when somebody who is Native makes commentary like, I wish we hadn't, tried to help these people and make sure that they didn't starve, because that's really what happened. Is that we got here. People look like me, not like me, but who got here, right? But we're sick, like really sick, and like starving and dehydrated. And in a lot of places, they were helped back to health just to colonize and murder and trigger warning. We're going to talk about it. I mean, the murder and rape people and burn down their villages and kill their food sources in droves to waste it, to not eat
Waste
it,
it,
to
didn't
waste
even
it.
use it, didn't use the
Didn't use any of it, not the hides, not the meat, not any of it, not the bone, nothing. Whereas native culture used all of that
all of
stuff
it.
in a lot of those, you know, they lived off of the land.
I grew up
And
in Oklahoma when I was younger, and I will have to say my school, my area, definitely educated about Native American Indians. I feel like that's why I do have a, you know, more educated idea of when Standing Rock happened and being sensitive. My oldest sister is Blackfoot Indian, and her, you know, her biological family is still on the reservation in where the Blackfoot Reservation is. I think it's in North Dakota. I think, yeah, I think the family, I don't know, her family was in North Dakota, I think. But that was, I locked some memory of where she went. So I just know she went to go see her family on the reservation.
yeah.
And almost got stuck there. So that was scary.
And I mean, not, you know, it would be remiss to not mention that also, that there are so many unsolved crimes on reservations, so many missing young and old Indigenous women are missing or
This comes
have
from
been
those
murdered.
pipelines that are being built on their lands. There are literal encampments for the men that are working, and we know as human and men that not everyone's on the up and up.
Did I tell you my presidential? Do y'all know my president? If I ever run for president, I'm running on what I'm running on. I'm running on the Rick and Morty platform. I don't know if you guys know. There's a Rick and Morty episode. I can't remember which one it is, so don't ask me. But there's a Rick and Morty episode where they go to this planet as all female. It's all females. And anytime a male is born, they put him into a little pod and they shoot him out into, like, I think their moon or whatever. And that's where all the males are. And when you go to that place, there's violence, it's chaos. It's complete chaos up there. And they send a pod up there, like a robot pod. And when they send that robot pod up there, all of the male, like they send a bunch of them, right? And all the males jump on it and then they're like, fuck it, right? And then the pod comes back down to the planet, and then the females get impregnated, and then they give birth. And if they give birth to a girl, she gets to stay and she gets educated and she gets to help. And the female planet, by the way, is very chaos free. It's very, like, things are running smoothly on the female planet. And they just shoot the males into the aggressive moon. It sounds about right. No, I love you. I love men. I love you. You know my philosophy on it, though, and that is what? Men are trash. It's fine. It's fine. I still love you. I still love you. Send your correspondence and complaints to Canna Queen at cannabiscloset420@gmail.com if you have anything to say about that. I would love to hear from you. I love it. cannabiscloset420@gmail.com if you have anything to say about that or anything else that we talk about on this show. You're welcome to send us a little email and tell us what you're thinking, and or if you want to see something, if you want to hear about something on the show, we'd love to hear from you on that. I'm going to go ahead
420 again.
Yeah, we always do.
Always.
Happy 420 West Coast. I'm going to also extend an invite to anybody here who has not already joined us in our Discord. Boom, there it is. You can hit that link right there and join us in our Discord, and we would love to have you. Our only rule is don't be a bully. You come in there and be a bully, be hateful, or any of the phobia, whatever bullshit, like, don't be hateful. We'll kick you out. Otherwise, you can stay. I have to make a correction, and I fucking hate that I have to make this correction because I made a mistake on last Monday's show when we were talking about trigger warning. We were talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So very angry about this, the outcome of this. But I don't know if you guys follow Tizzy ENT on TikTok or on Instagram, but he actually did a video on this explaining why Kyle Rittenhouse was able to get away with what he did. Like, it's because of the laws in Wisconsin that he was able to find so many loopholes, not to mention the judge was on his defense team. So, that of course added to it. But I made the mistake of saying Tamir Rice last week, and Tamir Rice was actually the young 12-year-old boy who was playing in a park with a toy gun who was shot by police in 2 seconds flat. They didn't even have time barely to stop the car. Who I meant to make the comparison about in age, especially, was Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was killed by a neighborhood watch vigilante for carrying some Skittles and a bottle of tea. And he was unarmed, and he was painted as the villain. And this young white boy who killed people with his gun, which he should not have had at his age, or in the state that he was in, he legally had it. He was put into this hero light, and the media does that often. They do it often, and it's the feature, not the flaw. So, you got to hire the right representation so that we can change the laws and so that we can all live here equitably. So, sorry about that. I keep bringing it down. I don't know what to do about it. I just needed to make that correction. I didn't want to leave that incorrect information hanging out in the air. I just didn't want to do that. I couldn't live doing that. It sounds dramatic, but it's real. It's true. I couldn't just leave that.
That's what you do. Fact check.
I'm gonna load up here and let's do a dab, or I'll do a dab.
Thanks for joining us. The Cannabis Closet with Canna Queen MJ, and I think I'm frozen. Am I? I don't know.
A little bit. You were max headrooming. I think that is part of the show now. I think that
I should just change my moniker down there. I just say
it's part of the show now.
MJ Max Headroom.
Yeah. For those of you who are young millennials, Gen Z, right? Yes. Or older Gen Z. So young millennials or older Gen Z, and maybe middle millennials too. You guys probably don't know who the fuck we're talking about. But look it up. Max Headroom. I think he was popularized. I want to say he was popularized on MTV, and then they might have done a show about it. I think they did a show about it. They definitely did. And then it was featured in Back to the Future.
And it was also talked about a lot in the book Ready Player One. So
in what book?
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One.
I talk about it often because I love listening to it on tape because it's very nostalgic for us.
But if you go check it out, you'll understand the reference, and it's pretty funny. It's like, because we grew up. Okay, so we grew up before like cell phones and like we got the pagers and and so
I still had a black and white TV growing up. So let's start.
It was in a technological age that we
know that there were only black and white TVs. Some of you young ones, that it was only black and white, and you only got color. We had like color on Sunday. That was the cartoon. Sorry, that's the cartoons in the newspaper.
Yeah. So that's the cartoons in the newspaper. So y'all even know what a newspaper is. But Max Headroom was like this like early. I would say he was like an early imagined image of like what it would be like to have like the computer that talks back to you. He was like the the computer in the computer. Like he was a personality in the computer that would like, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Am I right about that? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, he was. Yes.
He was like the Jarvis. If y'all watch Marvel at all, he was like and he was
yes.
and he was before, and so he was before, or maybe around the same time as when do you remember Knight Rider?
Mm-hmm.
Kit, the car that talked to him? Dude, I was like, I'm gonna have a car that talks to me like that. Now my car says bullshit to me. It just dings at me. It doesn't really say shit to me. But when things say stuff to you like your computer, it's like usually bullshit. It's not like a conversational thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kit would talk, and Kit was like, it was sort of like the Batmobile, and then like right, and the dude was like a private eye or something.
Getting a little further on me on that one. I'm like, I'd have to.
You don't remember Knight Rider?
Oh no. Oh, I thought you were going back to Max Headroom. I was like, this isn't making sense to me now.
No.
Knight Rider, yes. I was like,
Knight Industries 2000. Look at Nexus coming through with the information. It was the greatest show. Was it David Hasselhoff? Was that David Hasselhoff?
Was he Knight Rider? Was he? Someone else is gonna have to confirm that. I mean, I can Google, but I have a lighter in the hand and a bowl in the other.
Yeah. So let me just say for the record that I find David Hasselhoff offensive. A lot of people are in love with this man. He has a he has like a whole cult following. He has like a literal whole cult following.
Oh yeah, so we're in Germany.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Zoe. Will.
Happy birthday, Zoe. So the car was the Knight Rider, actually. Okay. So, but as a child of the 80s, and let me premise what I'm about to say by saying that children know what they like already, even when they don't understand sexuality. Okay. I just want to say that because I definitely remember thinking that this person was attractive. Like he was cute. He was handsome. He was like, you know, and he was a protector. So those things, you know, were attractive to a young straight girl. Right. I could have been 5, but I still understood that he was, you know, that was something that was attractive. So David Hasselhoff in the 80s was, my mom definitely, listen, she will be mad if I'm going to say it anyway. She will be mad. She don't watch. You should be watching. My mom definitely.
Can't be mad if she don't listen. Sorry.
Damn right. I feel like my mom definitely masturbated to David Hasselhoff, Knight Rider edition. And also, your mom did too. So just everybody, your moms definitely did that. David Hasselhoff, that furry motherfucker turned on all the ladies. All the ladies. If the ladies like the men's, David Hasselhoff was it. Oh, and
Burt Reynolds.
But that's not Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. That's what I was thinking, actually. Tom Selleck.
That was my mom's dude. Mm-hmm. She loved her some Tom Selleck. Who is that? Magnum PI? I said it, Nexus. I did say it. I'm not going to take it back. I want you to think about it later. Not my mom. I want you to think about your mom, though. I told you I'd bring it back up.
That's what she said.
She did. She said it.
Oh, sorry. I was a little late on that one.
We've learned so much today.
Dude, we covered the gamut. Yeah, brisk fall air. It is still fall. We're getting, I mean, I need snow. I need to.
We need snow too.
I need to move my let it snow sign onto my manifest board, or vice versa, turn my other board
in the window so the sky can see it.
You're not wrong.
Oh, see?
I think I should paint some glow-in-the-dark paint on it then as well. And so
that's right. So the moon can see it too.
I need the water to work with the moon, to work with the, rain, to work with the, what, all the things.
Y'all, did I make you feel uncomfortable? I hope the answer is yes.
I'm like, hey, is it? We should have a poll at the end of every show.
Does Canada Queen make you feel uncomfortable when she mentions that your mother probably masturbated to David Hasselhoff? Probably. She said, listen, I just saw this comment about, I thought it was a music artist. She thought Max Headroom was a music artist because we said also that you were T-paining, which is what people say now when you have like that jitter shit happening.
I don't know what the T-painting thing is.
So
I do not know.
Musician, Google.
Yes. But I know Max Headroom he was supposed to be technological, and because technical logical things didn't work as well, he would glitch. It was like to say a word.
Yeah.
So and if that's what T-Pain does, then I
T-Pain is a musician that has just Google.
I will. I mean, I probably won't. Jess will probably me later because she knows I won't.
Hey, Jess, Google that and send that to her.
T-Pain. Will you Google me some T-Pain?
So she can understand why people say that.
Do you know who Max Headroom is? How many years younger are you than me?
Almost 39.
Oh. So you're 4 years younger. So you're on that side, that generation side that wouldn't maybe not know.
Yeah, no. I mean, he was long gone by then, probably.
But I don't. Yes, is there?
And Eminem does a video dressed as Max Headroom. Apparently, which video is that? Do you know?
Oh, we'll have to go find that.
Yes. We probably won't be able to play it. The last time we played a video on here, they muted us or they took us down.
We have to edit that one. I think
we have to edit and put it back up because it was a good episode.
Yeah. He talked like he was glitching. Yeah. I bet that's great. I love Eminem. I do. Like, if you really.
Let me buy. She's singing over here. Let me buy you a drink.
I don't know what this is. It's usually I never know what is playing anyway because I rely on my friends to play my music for me.
I do not.
I have your list. I have Jess's list. I have like my friend's Brian's list. I have like anyone that wants to send me a list. I'm on Spotify. Like, shoot me your shit.
And we're on Spotify.
Definitely
check us out.
Shit.
And Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts too, and other podcasts too. Well, we're just not. Those are the major ones. What we do is we upload to an app. Anchor is also one of the channels, anchor.fm, and we upload to Anchor, and then spreads out to a bunch of different podcasts. So and then we had to be on a waiting list for a few of these. So we're pretty happy about being on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Play, especially.
Follow us on Instagram. We need more followers there.
Yeah, we would like to give away a glass piece.
We've been talking about it. We haven't promoted it as much for whatever reason. When we fell off the TikTok, we also fell off the gift away.
I can tell you why. It's because we've been trying to raise this money to do our investment, and we've been trying to get this work done.
That too. So our loyal followers, please share us every moment you get, and entice your friends to follow us on Instagram as well. You get snippets of our dogs, of our life. It's where you will find my social media because I do not have one that you can access without being a friend, and it's old and outdated. Like, I don't even have anything new.
She said, I'm a mukbang whenever you say you're hungry and sing T-Pain whenever she glitches. My husband saw an actual mukbang going down the other day in the streets. He saw somebody with a tripod and it was pointed at him, and he had like all of his food, and yeah. Oh yeah, we sent that Discord invite, but like if you have friends that are not assholes, they can come too. Yeah, so bring your friends. We invite, the more the merrier. That's what we want. We want to see.
The link for Discord is good for 7 days. There's a timeline on it. So if you don't catch it here and you want to catch us later, email us cannabiscloset420 at gmail. We work out, we hang out, we smoke out, we do all the things about at different times of the day. So you never know when you're going to catch in there, but we are most definitely in there in the mornings. It's usually,
and she doesn't T-Pain in there at all.
And I do not T-Pain there. But you know, my little computer has to chug away at on StreamYard because it's streaming, and I'm usually on Discord. I'm on my phone, so that's why. And
yeah.
I'm manifesting a new computer. I still, I get all this feedback, and one of my my Apple guys, like, for what the screen size and what I like to run, the programs that I like to run, he's like, okay, and he's going to try and find me a model that does all that.
The Instagram is Cannabis Closet 420. If you can't find us under the Cannabis Closet podcast, then you can find us under Cannabis Closet 420. We are going to work on our, we have a solo or what do you call a link tree or whatever. So we have one of those. Oh, is it 555? 555, 555. I'm rich, bitch. Woo, woo, woo. And so are you. 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 And so are you.
No, bitch.
So we're gonna work harder to provide like a QR code on or like a link to our solo, so you can get to our other pages on the various websites. So if you find one website, you can find the other ones. So we're gonna work on that for sure. And we had some good news happen to us the other day, so we're moving forward with a plan that we are enacting right now, and we'll let you guys know. We're putting some stuff out on the market, so we'll let you guys know under our new company and partnership, Queen Kitty. So it's really exciting. We've had amazing meetings this week, and it's only Monday.
And it's a short week.
We started yesterday, so that's why. That's why we're ahead of the game a little bit. But we have some exciting things happening. We have a logo coming for the Cannabis Closet podcast. So many amazing things are happening right now, and we're going to keep you guys in the loop as much as possible. Definitely, if you join us in Discord, you get to kind of sometimes hear insider information, because we talk about it all the time. We talk about stuff going on all the time. So definitely join us in there for a morning smoke. And again, we're going to be off on Wednesday. So everybody have a wonderful time off. I'm not going to say the other thing because I don't celebrate it, but I definitely enjoy your time off, and be safe and be careful out there, and gorge yourself with as much food as possible.
And if you have to work because your employer is open on a national holiday that everyone else gets to take off with their family and friends, then I'm sorry. And thank you for being there for those that feel the need to go out and about. I have gone out to eat dinner somewhere else on Thanksgiving Day because I did not want to cook. And that was lovely too. But because
tip extra if you having somebody deliver food to you, or you're going out to eat, make sure you tip extra. What was I going to say? Also, shop local on Friday, shop Black owned businesses on Friday. Try to stay away from things like Amazon and Walmart and things like that. What else?
Because don't forget, there's stuff sitting in, apparently sitting in ports or boats out.
Yeah. You're never gonna get it.
You're not getting it.
You're never gonna get it repaired.
Never gonna get it. And
I said we were gonna be off on Wednesday. We're gonna be back on the following Monday, which is the 29th. We're really hoping that Kevin feels better. Kevin feel better. And hopefully he can join us on the last day in November that we will be we'll talk about epilepsy awareness throughout the year because he is a great friend of ours and we'll keep everybody informed on that front.
Indeed.
Be careful out there, enjoy your time off.
Yeah.
And try to educate yourselves. Maybe get an argument over Thanksgiving. It'll save you money over Christmas.
Fun facts.
Follow me for more facts.
Follow Canada Queen DGO for more fun facts.
Let me hit this button so we can go out on with a bang and let's do it.
All right. Thank you,
you guys,
today.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you share, follow, subscribe, whatever the options are. Join us in Discord. Be nice to yourself. Put your mask on before assisting others.
Cultivate love. Bring it to you. There's enough for everybody.
And stay lifted, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. We love you guys.
We love
you.
Have a
wonderful time off.